On Friday the 31st of May, this is Meridian.
And a very good evening. The party is in full swing here. The flags are out. The celebrations have begun. We have started the Golden Jubilee celebrations. We are at Alford in Hampshire, a beautiful place at Sunhill Infants and Junior School. And what finer place could we come to start our celebrations? Are we excited, everybody?
Yeah! Not at all. Welcome to a very special edition of Meridian Tonight. We're here to mark the 50-year reign of the Queen.
We are indeed, but it's also a double whammy this weekend, because don't forget, it's the World Cup as well.
Who could forget? It's perfect for any man, isn't
Absolutely.
it? Well, now, of course, there'll be parties like this going on across the region, although there were fears that it could have been a damp squib, but just look at this.
They all said it was going to be a damp squib, but look, it's heaving here tonight. The parents here as well, the kids are here as well. We'll have more information of what's going on in the region a little later on. But let's meet the kids,
well,
Mary.
This is supposed to be a street party. In fact, it's a field party. Now, all these kids, they think they know what it's about, so let's find out. First of all, ask you now, what really is this about? What are we marking?
Because the Queen's been on her throne for 50 years.
And she's done a good job, hasn't she?
Yeah.
OK, have you ever seen the Queen?
No, but I've seen her on TV quite a lot.
And what do you think of her?
She's very nice.
She seems very nice, doesn't she? And do you think she's doing a good job, Jessica?
Yeah.
OK, and Lily, what about you? What do you think?
She's doing a very good job.
And you're enjoying the party, I guess, so it's a good excuse for a party, if nothing else. But what are you going to do this weekend?
Seeing friends and parties and stuff.
How lovely.
I'll tell you what, Mary, they're all getting stuck into the food over here. This is Ashley over here. What's happened, Ashley, over the last 50 years? Because you've been learning about that, haven't you?
Yeah, the internet was launched.
The internet was launched, yes. What about you, Mia? Can you tell me what's happened over the last 50 years when the Queen's been on the throne?
The phone has turned into CD, like you were telling that.
Right, I like your hair, by the way. You've got a bit of grey in the middle like me. It's marvellous, that is. Georgina, you've been learning all about the last 50 years. What do you think? What's been going on over the last 50 years?
Neil Armstrong was the first man on the moon.
Right. Do you think the Queen's done a great job, Charles?
I think she's done an excellent job on the throne.
And what's the next celebration do you think we'll be having after this one?
We're going to have
the diamond one, isn't it?
Jubilee.
Yeah, well, listen, enjoy your crisps, enjoy everything, and don't forget to wave your flags, will you? Thank you.
Well, before we go much further, I ought to tell you a little bit about Alford. Beautiful market town, Georgian town in the middle of Hampshire countryside, a river running through it, lovely shops, lovely inns, we've experienced them all. But this town really knows how to party. It's throwing itself into the celebrations. I've been meeting some of the residents and finding out about their preparations. Party planning in Alford began months ago. For the Jubilee, these pretty streets will be filled with local entertainments and events. With history and charm, it's a town well used to attracting visitors.
It was an Anglo-Saxon estate. It was a rich estate because in the Domesday Book it had 9 mills. And it was self-sufficient in that there were blacksmiths who'd made things. There was a tannery here, not far from where we're standing. And there's a fulling mill, which is behind me, which indicates that they wove cloth. It suffered from quite a number of fires, particularly in the 1690s or 80s and 90s. It had a disastrous fire which burnt both the church and most of the buildings. So the buildings are Georgian, but they're on the medieval foundations.
There's always been a tradition of markets and fairs here, community occasions just like the celebrations planned for the Queen's Jubilee. For that, a nursery in the nearby village of Fourmarks has produced hundreds of hanging baskets to decorate the town, red, white and blue, of course. Everyone is being encouraged to get involved. Nothing would keep keen royalist Betty Tring away.
I feel like the Queen in as much as I'm the same age as the Queen. We were just 2 weeks apart in age. I also married a Philip. Her and her husband and myself and my husband, we were all in the services during the war. So we've gone through a lot of decades together. I think we need the royal family, and I think we need this celebration. I think this is just at the right time.
Like this eager ballet group, those taking part in the town's street festival have been working hard on their performances. Local bands like the Bladderheads will provide music throughout the day and into the evening. And by then, of course, all the decorations will be finished.
Well, we're doing kind of like crowns, and we're putting feathers on them with flowers and these swirly things.
Well, we're going to do a procession down 4th Street in old brownie uniform.
There's little doubt that, as in so many of the South's towns, Alford is really ready to party.
You can feel the enthusiasm, it's growing, and the whole town, I think, will be involved, all ages, and I think that's important. So I think we're all looking forward to this Jubilee. I think it'll be a great time in Alford. I hope it will be.
I'll tell you what, when the sun shines, Alford's got to be one of the finest places, not just in the UK, but in the world. Well, I'm joined here by Rosie Waring-Green, who's one of the teachers here at Sunhill Infants and Junior School. Now, I know that, Rosie, you've been involved in all the preparation, not only in the school, but also in the town itself. And so without you, it doesn't happen. And you're very patriotic tonight as well.
Very.
Tell me about the kind of things that the kids have been learning about.
Right, well, in the infant school, we've been finding out about the last 50 years. So we've got a painting competition to really help the children understand, like the first man on the moon, World Cup winners, decimalisation, lots of things that have happened that they may not understand without us a lot of input in.
You'd be very pleased tonight. I tested some of the kids a little bit earlier on, and they knew exactly what had happened over the last 50 years, so it's worked.
Worked, good.
Now, tell me about Harry Potter, because he's crept in as well, hasn't he?
He has. We had a writing competition for the junior school to decide, invite Harry Potter, what would be really good about Alford if he'd like to come and live here.
Yeah.
And, of course, the steam trains will be really good.
Indeed.
In fact, we're on a hill, he can fly over with his broomstick. We've got owls around, so brilliant place for Harry
Of course,
Potter.
you and I remember the other celebration, don't we, the 25th?
The 25th, or even the coronation?
Well, no, I wouldn't go as far as that, but you know what I mean. Yeah. Are you celebrating yourself this weekend?
Absolutely, yes. I'm organising lots of other things, got my own celebrations at home too.
Well, we've talked about some of the things the kids have been learning about, but there's been also something extremely special at this school that's been prepared specially for this Golden Jubilee, hasn't there? Mary?
Well, yes, the school wanted a lasting memory of all the work they'd done during this Jubilee year. So they approached a local artist, Charlie Carter. He's a sculptor. And they got all the children involved at an early planning stage. And that's when we got involved too. Mary Stanley was there when he came to his very first visit to the school.
It all began 10 weeks ago. A sundial would mark the Jubilee and make education fun. They started by learning about the solar system, why we need the sun and legends surrounding it.
I just want it to be done now because I just want to see what it looks like.
They then produced drawings to be the inspiration of Charlie's work.
I've been drawing Icarus flying to the sun, and Deedler said not to go too close to the sun, but he disobeyed him.
As always with children, you get the most amazing bits of imagination that you couldn't think about yourself.
This is going to set you quite a tough task, isn't it? To try and include all of this.
Very much so, it's a challenge, yeah, but it's a good one.
Back home in Petersfield, work began. Money for the sculpture has come from grants and sponsorship.
I take the original children's drawings and decide which bit of them I'm going to use. I then trace them onto the timber and then carve using the hand chisel into the background so that the drawing begins to stand out.
The 10-foot structure then had to be erected in the school grounds. 12 seats represent the hours of the day. And today, the final unveiling.
This is what I drew. I'm a lady and the sun. I think it's quite good because not many schools will have one. It's very nice.
I'm really pleased with it. It's been a very successful project. The whole experience has been very positive for me as well as the school.
This will be an area to learn, to contemplate, and in years to come, view your piece of history. Mary Stanley in Alford for Meridian Tonight.
Marvellous,
Well,
Mary.
here is the lovely finished article, the Sunhill Sundial, and isn't it wonderful?
It is. If you actually look very closely at it, you can see this is Charlie's work here. you can actually see that Charlie has made some little designs and patterns.
These have come from the children's ideas. I love this little angel, and then it goes up to a sun, and there's something rather familiar about this.
Is that like the Meridian logo
Do you think they would have done that for us?
I don't know.
No, I don't
Probably
think so, not really.
But you can see the time. If you look just round to one side, Mary, you can see
the
shadow is between 6 and 7 o'clock, which is amazing, isn't it?
Very accurate.
It is beautiful, isn't it? And this is going to be here for another 50 years, which is the nice thing about it.
It's a wonderful memorial, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Well, that's about it for now from Alford. We're going to hand back now to Helen James for all the rest of the day's news from our news studios in Newbury.
Thanks very much, Mary. News now from around the region. A human head has been discovered by a member of the public at a park in Basingstoke. The discovery was made shortly before 2 o'clock this afternoon. Hampshire Police have sealed off Russell Howard Park in the town. An 82-year-old woman from Hampshire is recovering after being assaulted and robbed in her own home. Dorothy Goff from Andover was knocked to the ground by the intruders who stole £50 from her purse. Police are linking the robbery to others in the area.
So, really shocked, I was shaking all the time. I couldn't get up off the floor, so we had to send for the ambulance, to get me up.
Hampshire Police are appealing for a driver who stopped at the scene of a fatal road accident to come forward. 2 cars collided at Scraps Hill outside Basingstoke on Tuesday night. Police want to trace the driver of a red Ford Galaxy who stopped at the scene. Tomorrow's Thames Valley Youth Games will see more than 3,000 youngsters taking part in 10 different sports. Cricket will be included, and the West Berkshire under-13s have been going through a final practice session at the Falkland Cricket Club in Newbury. And they've been getting a few tips from England international Claire Taylor.
I really enjoyed it when I started. We played softball cricket, a bit like the quick cricket that the girls have been playing today. And it's all about scoring runs, catching people out and throwing yourself around in the field. So it's very, very good fun.
And that's today's news from your region. Now, though, we can rejoin Andy and Mary in sunny Alford for the Golden Jubilee celebrations. I hope you two are going to send me some jelly and ice cream.
Listen, just on cue, Helen, the jelly has arrived. Thank you very much indeed. We weren't expecting that, but thanks anyway. You rejoin us again at Sunhill Infants and Junior School. We're in Alford, kicking off the Golden Jubilee celebrations in real style in Hampshire.
You wouldn't know it from the sound here, but there are 300 children here, plus helpers, teachers and friends. And just look at the colour, it's a sea of red, white and blue.
One thing I've noticed as well is that on all of the tables here, we've got not only the Union flags, but we've got all these other flags as well, because you've been learning all about the flags, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, can you tell me what these flags are?
That's the Australian flag.
Yeah, well done. What's this one?
That's New Zealand flag.
And what's this one?
Union Jack.
OK, now here's a tricky one. Let's have this one. Can you tell me what that one is?
Jamaican.
That's the Jamaican flag, and
the
Canadian flag, and
the Indian flag.
And finally,
it's the Scottish flag.
That's St Andrews, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a great name, isn't it? Eh? Now, you've been learning all about the Commonwealth. Do you know what the Commonwealth is?
It's all the countries that the Queen looks after.
And she does a great job, doesn't she?
Yeah, there isn't as many as there used to be 50 years ago, but there's still quite a few.
You know all about the Commonwealth, isn't it? Well done.
They know more about it than we did, because we wouldn't have known all of that.
I wouldn't have got all of those flags, would you?
No, well now this is a golden celebration, but of course we all remember the 1977 celebration.
Well, I do.
And Susanna Streeter has been looking at the archives to have a look at the difference that 25 years can make.
The Hagborns bell ringers rehearse for the services this weekend to mark the Golden Jubilee. The bells have been pealing here for centuries.
West Hagborn is mentioned in the Domesday Book, which is 1086, and it was a village, as it was East Hagborn, long before that, in the days of Edward the Confessor.
But it's as a setting for part of the Doctor Who series in 1975 that East Hagborn really found fame. Villagers have always been keen to celebrate their heritage. The party thrown for the Silver Jubilee in 1977 was impressive. Fancy dress was de rigueur at the village football match and on the parade of floats through the Hagborns.
It was a week, really, of, of celebration. It was great fun. I mean, there was a wonderful procession with 10 to 15 tractors going through and displaying. We had it at the recreation ground, and there was a big marquee and a pig roast and games, fun and games.
How does the village compare to 25 years ago?
Favourably in some ways, but we've lost one or two things. We've lost a number of shops and we've lost 2 pubs, which is a great loss. We've still got the post office by the skin of our teeth. We've got more young people, I think.
Among the changes here during the last 25 years are the house prices. This house was bought for £30,000 in the Silver Jubilee year. Today it's valued at around £250,000. In 1977, the average pint of beer cost 27 pence. Today, here at the village pub, it's £2.10. And in the Silver Jubilee year, the chart hits were played on vinyl records and not CDs. But the sense of community in the two villages hasn't changed, and preparations for the Golden Jubilee celebrations are well underway. A barn dance and picnic are planned for West Hagbourne, and in East Hagbourne, the Jubilee cake is nearing completion. Like in 77, there's going to be a hog roast at one of the village farms, and replies to invites are coming in fast.
Now with 200, 250 people, that's nearly the full complement of the village are going to come, and it'll be all ages.
For the children, the celebrations are very exciting. They've already held a Jubilee tea party for the pensioners and put on a show full of old-time favourites. It's a tradition which has passed through the generations. Some of their parents were in the class which delighted the audience with the same song back in 77. Susanna Streeter in the Hagbournes for Meridian Tonight.
25 seconds, 25 years after the event, and we're back eating again. But in front of us here, we've got a display of the sort of thing that these children think that the royal family might be eating. Now, Josh, first of all, what have you got here on this table? What have you made?
Got wild boar, salmon, and another wild boar head.
So, Russell, why do you think this is the sort of thing the Queen might like?
Because it's very rich foods.
Do you think that's the sort of thing that she might catch on her own land? Because she likes salmon fishing, do you know?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. Ria, now, do you think this pig came locally grown?
It might have been, yes, I think so.
But your banquet was designed for 1952, wasn't it? Do you think that she still eats the same kind of thing?
I don't think so, no. I think she might eat party food at this particular time of day and everything.
More sausage rolls kind of thing like we've had today.
Yeah. but quite rich and succulent things.
Well, I know that Alford catches a lot of trout, the rivers here, so there you are.
That's got big eyes that are looking at me, that trout or that salmon. All made by the cardboard chef, would you believe?
Beautiful.
A great example of 1952. But now, listen, we're in full swing here, but lots of things are happening over the weekend. Here's an interesting selection for you.
Tomorrow and in Aldershot, 150 soldiers kick off the Jubilee celebrations on land at Queen's Avenue. From parachuting, watch out for the Red Devils, to physical fitness drills and a mock battle. It's one of the biggest shows to be staged in the military town, running all day until 7 p.m. And don't forget to try a tasty army curry.
On Sunday the 2nd of June, it's party time in Basingstoke. Bring your chairs and join in the town's Jubilee picnic and party. That's at the War Memorial Park from 2 o'clock until 10 p.m. Plenty to celebrate in the evening as well, when you're entertained by an orchestra and local bands.
There'll be special church services across the region. People born on a session day are taking part in a service at Winchester Cathedral at 3:30. And over in Berkshire, there'll be a service of celebrations and thanksgiving at the Minster Church in St Mary's Butts in Reading. That's at 3:15. In Windsor itself, the Queen will be attending a Jubilee service at St George's Chapel.
On to Bank Holiday Monday, and over in Surrey it's the County Show at Stoke Park. Included in this year's event, the Spirit of Friendship Festival. Performers and artists from across the globe will feature in a colourful day of music, dance, theatre, exhibitions and comedy.
Still on the 3rd, and it'll be fireworks in Fleet for the town's evening celebrations. During the day from 10 a.m, actors will be staging street plays alongside the entertainment. Fleet Road will be closed to traffic for the whole day.
Across the south, there'll be hundreds of street parties over the weekend, just like there were in 1977. Near Reading, for example, in the village of Burfield, organisers are staging one of the largest Jubilee parties in the UK, with a host of events for 8,000 partygoers from 11 a.m. until 11 p.m.
And in the morning in Alton Town Centre, there'll be a big street party with traditional music and entertainment. It's an all-day event, starting with a farmer's market at 10, so try that one out.
And finally, on Monday, the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh will lead a royal parade through the streets of Windsor. There'll be a march past by the St John Ambulance, themed around 5 decades of the Queen's reign. That's along the High Street at 11 o'clock.
I tell you what, you're absolutely spoilt for choice this weekend, that is for sure, but getting there is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Juliet, just as well you joined us. I know you're going to tell us about the travel situation, but you've got another way of getting there, haven't you?
Yeah, I certainly have. If you don't fancy hitting the roads, which are a nightmare at the moment, then why not take the train? And Alford, in fact, is famous for its watercress lines, and it's celebrating its 25th birthday. So they've had a steam engine in town, and we sent Mike Pearce, our transport correspondent, along to have a look.
Marvellous.
In the unspoilt countryside, just outside Alford, it could well be 1952. Little has changed, and this engine, built around the time the Queen came to the throne, will be part of a 4-day celebration on the watercress line.
It would have been in service a couple of years when the Queen came to the throne. And we've also got one of the royal engines, which is a King-class Great Western locomotive, which is fairly rare in this part of the world. In fact, it's the first time a King-class has ever run on this particular line.
For many, the sight of steam brings back many happy memories.
The noise and the smell was always so exciting.
Yes, a sense of excitement, I think.
Yes.
Wonderful sense of excitement.
You know, we didn't travel very much, so it was much more of a special thing.
Very special, yes, very special.
Not to be outdone, local bus enthusiasts were today putting the finishing touches to a number of restored vehicles, taking part in a major rally at Woking Station on Sunday. In 1952, public transport was the way most people travelled, and this weekend will bring back many happy memories. Mike Pearce on the watercress line for Meridian Tonight.
Well, as promised, I've got some travel news for you now, and of course the motorways are jam-packed with people trying to make an early escape for the long bank holiday weekend. So I thought we'd take a look at the M4 first of all. It's very busy around the areas of Junction 10, that's the Wokingham and Bracknell Junction, and between 5 at Slough and the M25, that's Junction 4B, particularly heading out of London. Now, on the A303 at Wiltshire, there are delays if you're heading down to the West Country. The stretch around Stonehenge, apparently, is particularly busy now. And just a reminder that many areas are closed off in central London due to the Jubilee celebrations taking place over the long weekend. So be warned if you're heading out of town. And of course, lots of local places will be holding parties where the roads will also be closed off. So be warned about that. We'll have a quick look at the cameras now. Now, this should be junction 6 on the M4. That's the Windsor junction. I'm told it's been very busy there this evening, but it is moving along okay. So if you're in that area, you should be getting through okay. Now, of course, it is going to be extremely busy over the entire bank holiday weekend, wherever you're going. So be warned, take a bit of extra time for your journey and take a bit of extra care out there as well. Now, of course, we're all here enjoying the Jubilee celebrations. I'm going to throw back now to Mary and Andy, who are over there, to wrap up ours.
I'll tell you what, I don't know about you, Mary, but I'm certainly in the mood now for the weekend.
I'm going to start on the jelly now. They've saved me one.
Do you know, what you don't realise is that there are, 300 children here, there's all of the parents, and what you don't realise at home is there's a camera that's kind of hovering above everybody, which means that every time it comes close, all the kids are waving. Are you doing anything special this weekend?
We're going to be celebrating in the village ourselves. We're going to have a party. It's going to be lovely. I think the whole region is going to celebrate.
What about you, Julia? Are you doing anything special?
Yes, I'm going on a picnic in Hyde Park on Sunday, hopefully. The weather stays nice.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, indeed.
Well, one of the ways of keeping children in check is to use one of these. Now, I'm going to try this because I think this will be the best way to sign off tonight.
Okay, well, don't forget we've got
children
through the weekend, and we're back on Wednesday. Don't forget Meridian Tonight on Sunday.
Children, can you hear me? Would you like to say one big goodbye for Meridian Tonight in Extreme excitement. Looking forward to the Golden Jubilee celebration. Shall we try it? Are you ready? Give us a nice big cheer from all of you here in Alford. Thank you for joining us. Enjoy the weekend. Yeah!
The Pollen Count, sponsored by Benadryl, one a day.
The pollen season's been getting off to a slow start this year. However, today's warm sunshine and the fine weather promised for tomorrow is likely to send pollen counts soaring. The forecast is for high levels across the whole of the south tomorrow, and they may not fall until later on Sunday, when thundery showers are expected.
You too can enjoy the Jubilee celebrations for under £30 in the B&Q clearance. This barbecue is half price. It's only $4.98 and there's 20% off charcoal. This is just £3.16. And in our clearance, this resin furniture has a third off. It's just £19.98. Have a great Jubilee weekend with B&Q's clearance prices.
There's something to celebrate at DFS, because right now and this bank holiday time, there's at least 50% off everything in the Jubilee collection. There's over 50% off this cool leather sofa at just $4.99. There's 50% off, and whatever you choose, there's 4 years free credit and everything's free for a year. And you'll save over 50% on this huge four-seater at just $5.97. 50% off the Jubilee collection at DFS. Go on, celebrate.
Clearance at B&Q. Here's another great offer. Selected barbecues at half price. This barbecue is just $14.97. Clearance at B&Q. It can't last forever.
Meridian weather, sponsored by Sea France, Dover-Calais ferries.
Hello, good evening. Well, I guess most people will have finalised their plans for the Jubilee weekend now, but if you're still open to suggestions as to when to go out for a day out in the countryside, tomorrow's the day. Warm and sunny tomorrow. After that, for the rest of the holiday weekend, we're going to be dodging the showers. You can see on the satellite picture, lovely sunshine across the south today. In fact, sunshine right across France and much of Spain too. As I run the sequence, there are two areas of cloud we have to keep an eye on as far as the next few days is concerned. There's one out to the west of us. It's a weather front trailing down into the Atlantic. At the moment, it's sending its worst weather right across Ireland and Scotland, so it's missing us. We don't need to worry about it just yet. But down over Spain, you can see clouds beginning to develop there. That's very hot and thundery air down there. That's going to come up towards us later tomorrow and on Sunday, and this weather front will come in from the west as well. As the two come together during Sunday, we'll see some very thundery downpours, I think, across the south. That's reflected in the change in the weather patterns as well. There's the high pressure that will give us a lovely day across the region tomorrow, very warm and sunny, light winds from the south or southeast. But this weather front, well, that will come across us later on Sunday, and you can see by Monday the charts look very different. That front already through us, another one lining up in the west there, so much more unsettled weather after tomorrow. As far as the night's concerned, well, after a lovely evening, it's a fairly quiet and uneventful night as far as the weather's concerned. An odd mist patch maybe, temperatures down to around 9. And then tomorrow it will be a glorious day, lots of sunshine, hardly any cloud worth a mention, and temperatures higher than today, around 23, perhaps even 24. If you are tempted out, though, in the sunshine, especially if you're heading down towards the south coast, do take care in the sun. The UV levels are very high this time of year, up around 7. That's about as high as it gets in this country, so you'll need the sun cream on tomorrow. And for Sunday, well, there will be sunshine in the morning, warm and sunny, I think, to start the day, even hot and humid for some of us, but then later in the day, we'll see those thundery outbreaks coming in from the west, and really the second half of Sunday and Sunday evening looks much more unsettled. And Monday and Tuesday, still bank holidays, of course, but more unsettled weather, I think, for Monday and Tuesday, temperatures high teens rather than the mid-20s that we're likely to see tomorrow. A quick look at the summary. It's fine and dry tonight, warm and sunny tomorrow, 10:23.
Meridian weather, sponsored by Sea France, Dover-Calais ferries.